down to Trini. Condense all the DB. Roly poly or skinny. Any guy is this wine they give me. So car with a baseline. Make she don't waste time no. Shorty is murder. Oh Lord, I want you wind up your waist in front me. Junction, no, bring it, make me feel it. Take time and don't speed it. Girl, show me you mean it. You're hot and you're steaming, yeah, yeah. So car with a baseline. Make you don't waste time now. Shorty is murder. Oh Lord, I want you wind up your waist in front of me.
Greetings, my name is Sabine Bellevue, and I would like to welcome you to this special on culture and beauty beyond COVID-19. We know due to the fact of coronavirus, we are unable to celebrate the West Indian American Parade like we normally do, but our tradition is so important that we have come together safely to honor our heritage. We will be meeting with notable people within our community that will highlight our Caribbean culture. Thank you.
Ready.
Welcome, Senator Jabari Brisport. Thank you for taking the time out to share with us on this virtual special on culture and beauty beyond COVID-19. How are you today?
I'm great. I'm glad that we could still find some way to celebrate, our rich culture.
Yes, rich indeed, rich indeed. So I know that you are third generation Caribbean American. Tell us about that experience. How has that molded you to become who you are today?
Yeah, so, my family is from Guyana. My grandmother was born over there, came over here in the 40s, 50s. My mother grew up in Brooklyn. My dad was actually, he immigrated straight from Guyana too. So, we're Guyanese on all sides.
Okay.
And, it really shaped me. One, I think it influenced the fact that I ended up being an educator. I'm sure we all know, Caribbeans, we take education very seriously. And, my parents always prioritized, making sure, I had the best possible opportunities growing up as a child in my education. And, actually both my sisters ended up as educators as well. And so, it runs in the family. But also the strong sense of justice. My dad lived here undocumented for 20 years and, was a working citizen, a stand-up gentleman, but, he didn't have a right to vote, it was taxation without representation. And, there's a sense of justice and fighting, to make sure that, everybody is represented in the community, which is also ties into my, my political beliefs.
Yes. Oh, that's awesome. You speak about that. You're saying him not being able to vote and being here undocumented for 20 years. That's amazing to be able to instill so much great qualities in you as far as education. Because I know about that. Big on the education, being a Haitian American myself, education is very, very important. And, how have those roots played in you becoming public service, getting into the public service?
Yeah, my parents, they didn't take any crap, both of them are members of unions. My mother, she works for the Brooklyn District Attorney as an office manager. She's part of CWA. My dad was a union sheet metal worker. And I still remember the day they went on strike for better wages, and it was a whole to do. We went out, we got a chair for my dad to be able to sit, and everything for the picket line and everything. And they told me not to take any nonsense. And, whether you're fighting for your rights as a union member, you're fighting for just, your basic dignity as a human being, those are principles which I think have long roots in the fact that, you know, the Caribbean is full of oppressed peoples from a variety of countries. You know, maybe you're oppressed from the British, maybe you're oppressed from the French, maybe you're oppressed from this other group. But, you know, we all have, you know, a sense of rising up and saying, you know, we're not going to take this anymore.
That's good. That's good that they were able to instill that in you. Like, don't take no mess, right?
Yeah.
We are as Caribbeans, we're very resilient people.
Yeah.
You know, and speaking on that, as a Caribbean American yourself, how has that shaped your freedom in expression?
Yeah. Well, you know, I do. It's funny because it's like, you know, Caribbeans, we get this stereotype as like, you know, being like a bunch of happy, like reggae listening, you know, whatever. But like, there is a sense of like joy that needs to come through any form of struggle. Like, you know, you can't spend like 24/7 railing against the machine. Like, you got to give people hope, and you got to give people a sense that there's something to look forward to. And that comes true in my politics as well. Like, you know, obviously I'm dissatisfied with like a lot of what's going on, but I like to communicate that I do believe that there is something so much better that we can all be moving towards, and something so much that we can all be like looking forward towards in like a collective liberation, so to speak.
That's good. That's good. That, you know, you're speaking about the liberation and something for us to look forward to. Everybody wants something to look forward to, right? We need some hope. We need some inspiration. And that's another reason why I'm doing this, you know, doing this virtual celebrating culture. Now, you know, so tell us how you're going to use your political influence, right, to kind of highlight the Caribbean culture and address our community as well.
Yeah. So I'm glad you asked. You know, it's you know, Caribbeans, we're definitely not nothing if not, you know, politically active. And you know, it's interesting. It's like, you know, the CARICOM is like a, you know, one of the few like major political organizations advocating for reparations. And, you know, when we bring that discussion into the States, you know, it's like, well, let's get the conversation started. You know, I was just talking with Assemblymember Barron about his bill to begin like commission to study it, and, you know, about how I could help out as a state senator in that. But like, you know, that conversation is long overdue. And then there's just a sense of like, you know, acknowledging Black history in our school. Again, I'm a math teacher, but like, you know, there's still room for talking about Black history and the contributions of Black people to our society. And, you know, a Black history bill is important to me in education, and also just, you know, policing and police brutality. You know, the parade, when it is there, you know, just like there's so much police presence throughout Crown Heights in a way that they don't do for other parades. You know, like the St. Patty's Day parade, they don't have police just chilling on Fifth Avenue like 4 days in advance in case anything happens, in the way they do for our community. So, you know, we need to acknowledge that too, the way that we are treated differently. And, you know, I do believe there's a sense of fighting for more equality for, you know, our people and, like, you know, the descendants in in Crown Heights, and then, you know, New York at large. And, you know, I'm happy to be, you know, fighting on behalf of us.
Thank you. Thank you for your time. It was wonderful speaking to you. I really appreciate you being on with us today.
Thank you, Sabine.
Assemblyman Charles Barron, thank you for being a part of this virtual special on culture and beauty beyond COVID-19.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes. It would be a great attribute for us that if you can share with us some of the influential Caribbean people that have inspired you in your life?
But you know, the greatest influence on my life has been the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey. And I'll never forget, I was telling my good friend Tyrik a little earlier that I had a point in the struggle where I was really disenchanted with what was going on, and I pulled back and I said, you know, I got to get it together. I got to think. One of the things that capitalism does, it takes away from your thinking and imaginative thinking because you're trying to survive it. Survival, everything is survival. So Marcus Garvey, when I said, you know, we're too reactionary. Now I understand we got to protest. I'm going to continue to do that for as long as I live. I have an extra pair of shoes for protesting. I'm going to wear them out. And it's only going to be through us in the streets that's going to get us anywhere. However, we have to think proactively. We have to turn mobilizing around issues into organizing for power. And that's what Marcus Garvey did for me. The spirit of Garvey, oh man, it really revived my spirit and fight. When I saw that this brother said, hey, where is your men of high affairs? Where is your institutions? Where is your votes? But look what he gave us. He had the largest organizing of African people worldwide than anyone in history, 2 to 10 million. He had chapters in Africa, and he never stepped foot in Africa through his, you know, communications. In Costa Rica, in, you know, all across Central America and South America. But here in North America, he came to Harlem, and he had a Phyllis Wheatley hotel. He had a hat millinery shop. He had all kinds of stuff. The Black Cross Nursing Unit. Bad Sisters. He had the African Legionnaires, the brothers in their uniforms and protecting the nation. The Black Star Line Fleet. He wasn't just using that to show off. He was actually making commercial trade with the Caribbean and with us here in America. So Marcus Garvey, to me, major, major contribution.
So I was a part of the change that we changed the name on our street to from Jefferson to Frederick Douglass. Now I know you were a part of changing a street name as well. So tell me about that experience.
Well, I am so honored to say that I led the charge and got it done to change a street name to my main man, the man I love so much, and Bob Marley. And it's Bob Marley Way. And I have to say this, that it was even challenging to get my other brothers and sisters from the Caribbean involved to actually get that done. But I was honored because not only did we get it done, and I don't know that there's a Bob Marley Street hardly anywhere in America, but we got one in Brooklyn.
That's great. That's awesome. Always moving ahead, always making the way. Thank you for that. Thank you. Thank you for your time, and have a good one.
Have respect for life, respect for life. All life matter. I matter, you matter, she matter, everybody matter. I matter, you matter, she matter, everybody matter. It's all about you, it's about you and you. It's all about me too, it's about everybody. It's all about you, it's about you and you. It's all about me too, it's about everybody.
Now joining us is Nicole from the Caribbean Elite magazine, editor-in-chief. Welcome, Andreen.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. It's really my pleasure and honor. So, let me ask you, being a Black woman editor, do you find any difficulties within that arena?
Well, for me, it's always difficulty being a Black woman. You know, everything we have to do, we have to be 10 steps ahead. We have to be 10 times better. Even being a Black person, you have to be 10 times better. But being a Black woman, add maybe another 5% to that, you know? But for me, I always strive to be excellent in whatever I'm doing. So I think it's not hard for me to do my job. I just continue to press forward and find innovative ways to capture the essence of the Caribbean community.
Speaking of challenges, I know there's a push for the Caribbean community to be seen more on a global scale. What's your opinion on that?
The impact is there, but we're not getting the notarization that we need to get for it. No one's really stepping out and saying, oh, we did this song and it was taken from this culture. It was influenced from this culture, from the Haitian culture or Jamaican culture. No one's saying that. They're just taking the essence and just moving with it. And I think that's what's missing. Part of what is going on right now, there's something called the Time Now movement that the Caribbean community has jumped on. And it was pretty much due to what's been happening with the Versus match. Billboard came out with a cover and they left out the most impactful Versus match that was done, which is the one with Bounty Killer and Beanie Man. And there was an outcry not only from the Caribbean community, but from the community and music community worldwide because they knew how impactful that was. So now with this Time Now movement, it's pretty much a movement saying it's time now that we get recognized for the impact that we have in music, in culture, and everything that's happening. Right now, even soca music isn't its own genre, which is crazy. Soca music has to go under reggae. Dancehall isn't a separate genre, it has to go under reggae. They're different entities of Caribbean music, and they all need to be identified.
Thank you, Nicole, for sharing with us. That was very impactful.
Thank you for having me.
It was our pleasure. Take it away.
So now we are joined by the amazing DJ Tyrik.
Thank you for having me.
I love music. But you know, one thing that I dislike sometimes is that they compact all of the Caribbean music into one.
Absolutely. It is 100% different. I think a lot of times people tend to lump all the music as reggae because it's the most well-known. It's crossed over internationally for years, starting with Bob Marley and so many other great artists from him. I think when we're talking about soca, because it's such a huge part of Carnival and such a huge part of the parade celebration, that's where you really do start to, hear the differences. So I'll love to play a few examples for you. And I think once you start to hear it, you can actually say, oh, okay, next time I hear this is jab, this is groovy, this is power. So this one is by Mr. Killer and it's called Oil It.
I want the baddest whining song listen in the world. Every girl come out and spread out and wind up. Bad girl back it up when you wine pan this. See don't tick tock when you wine pan this. Push your right back when you wine pan. Make your fat body clap when you wine pan this. Look back and look over when you wine pan. Give me the room walk when you wine pan. Be a like you want fuck when you wine pan.
And that was just a quick one from Mr. Killer.
Is there any specific dance that goes to jab music?
Yeah, I think probably one of the most common if you're in Grenada for Carnival or even on the Parkway for Labor Day. Once that bass hits, I think you'll see people go like this. You'll see them really mash their feet into the ground, but it's all about keeping up that tempo and keeping that spirit and being aligned with the music. So I would say that's definitely how you would identify someone who's either Grenadian or really into jazz, because that's how they tend to connect and celebrate with the music.
So tell me, with Jab Jab, that sound and Calypso, are the sounds similar, or is that different as well?
That's definitely different. I think Calypso is almost like the predecessor to soca. So I'll play some Nani Wine. You'll probably remember this song from back in the day. It's from 1989. Nani Wine, Nani Wine, Nani Wine, Nani Wine, Nani Wine, Nani Wine down so, Nani Wine down so, Nani Wine down low, Nani Wine down low.
Wow, thank you so much for all that valuable information that you have provided us and for myself.
Having me, I hope everyone enjoys the rest of their weekend and listens to some great music, whether it's soca, reggae, dancehall, or calypso.
Hi, my Keyz Andrews. Thank you so much for sponsoring Culture and Beauty Beyond COVID-19 with these amazing costumes.
Thank you.
No, really and truly. Your costumes were really amazing. They're absolutely beautiful. I really, truly appreciated you. Let me tell you, it was so challenging for us to kind of like put it all together. My team and I tried to put it on the models. It was like, where does this go? Where does this go? I guess when you're not part of the conception, it's kind of challenging for you to kind of put it together. Like, so tell me, what does it take for you to create a costume?
I would say it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of patience. It takes a lot of thought, the thought process as to what you want to do. Like if you want to go with a storyline in order to like let the costume have maybe a story to it. It takes time as going out there, finding the correct fabrics, finding the correct gemstones, finding the correct feathers to match. Getting the wire work together to do the big fancy feather pieces and stuff like that. So, it's a lot of time consuming, a lot of energy that goes into actually getting the costume ready.
Speaking of taking a lot of time and putting it together, now you have this fabulous costume behind you. Tell me, like, what pieces, like, how did you figure out the fabric that you wanted for this design that you have behind you, and as well as the color scheme?
Well, actually, with this one, I wanted it to be more or less a pink costume, but then I went into the store where I buy my stones, gemstones and stuff at, and I saw a different kind of trim that would actually match with pink. I didn't really think of blue, but actually the gemstone had blue in it, what actually made me, so I created the body first, and then I went ahead and I matched the colors of the feathers with it after. So I would always do my body work first, and then I would match it, get the feather pieces to match the body work.
Got it. What other things inspire you?
I have other designers that I look up to as well, as their work is very good from out of Trinidad. So I kind of like, get inspiration from them, and then also from dance, or sometimes I might be walking and see a mural, I might get a little inspiration from that, or I may be watching a movie, I might get an inspiration from that, so it's a series of different, more like a collaboration of things that I use to get inspiration to actually design a costume.
That's amazing. That's really amazing. Believe you me. Because I'm like, I love a costume, boy. Dressed up and take pictures and stuff. So it's really exciting. Even seeing the models wearing your costume, they felt alive. The costume just kind of like brings life into you. I don't know what it does, but do you know what I mean? Like,
yes, I know exactly what you mean, and that's the effect I wanted to have when even people who purchase it and out there in Carnival, I want them to feel good, I want them to feel comfortable, I want them to feel happy, I want the colors to make them feel, happy and not, really enjoy themselves. So that's good to know.
Great. Yeah, it is. It does make you feel good. Even me putting on or helping the the models wear the costume, put on the costume, made me feel excited when I got to see them all put it all together. It was absolutely amazing, and the pictures and such was really pretty. So I really want to thank you for that experience. Thank you for supporting us. Thank you for being part of the culture and beauty beyond COVID-19.
All right, thank you. I always like to help and be part of the culture, always for the culture.
Thank you. Good job.
Carnival morning on the road when the big sound system string up. She can't wait for the DJ press play for she flag and she waistline to fling up.
As we continue the celebration of culture and beauty beyond COVID-19, joining us is Nayaba Arende, the editor at Amsterdam News. Welcome, Nayaba. How are you today?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Thank you. Your mask is amazing. It's really beautiful. I love the colors. Red is my favorite color. Tell me, how has it been wearing a mask, and where did you get your mask from?
I think I got this from, I want to say Mashoud. I have so many Mashoud ones. I just like the African prints, as you can see. It's a cultural expression.
Yes.
It immediately tells people that you are culturally sort of like in tune with yourself and don't mind exposing it and showing it off. And just, if you have a mask for every outfit, if you have that, you know what I mean? You just want to let people know, this is me, here I am, proud, proud African diaspora. And so I just want to let people know. And also makes me feel better about wearing a mask, which is such a necessity, I guess, but also a bane.
Yes.
I hate to see people having to wear them because you can barely breathe sometimes. But it's better to wear a mask than be on a ventilator, right?
Absolutely.
So we understand. And so being that we have to wear them, we have to culturally make them, appropriate for us.
Yes.
So that's what we're doing.
Yes.
So.
How are you protecting yourself being a cancer survivor of over 10 years?
Kept my immune system fortified. So I took a lot of ginger, I took a lot of garlic, I took a lot of echinacea, I drank a lot of teas. I made sure that I was always feeling strong. And just trying to make sure that I when I felt weak, I rested. Rest is really important, right? And so because I'm a high-risk person with my immune system compromised because I have multiple sclerosis also, I wanted to make sure that I was healthy. And so I just kept my immune system fortified the whole time, even now.
Yeah.
Of course, it continues.
Through all those challenges that you have, had to overcome, how do you find any inspiration or motivation? Is there any African American, any Caribbean people that have inspired you?
Absolutely. Music is everything, first of all. Politics. Fela, for me, is everything. Everything begins with Fela Kuti and the music. And the fact that he was an activist and a message in the music, I believe in that strongly. So you have people like, I'm a fan of Lovers Rock. So to soothe me, it's Lovers Rock, Janet Kay, Carol Thompson, all of that. I like Barrington Levy, Barris Hammond, of course, Bob Marley, Peter Tosh, all the greats. I think music is what inspires me, keeps me. And the first thing in the morning I do is put it on the radio or put on my music. And you also have different types of music for different type of moods, right? So I believe that you have your sets of artists that you always know whenever they come out with a song, it's going to be power, right? So right now I'm listening to Buju. Okay. I'm blessed. I'm listening to Coffee and Toast. Nice. I love music. I can't even tell you Afro, Juju, high life, reggae, dance hall. Even though some people think it's slackness, but whatever.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Thank you. We have a lot in common. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much.
Take it away.
Shape like Coca-Cola. Wait till I hold ya. Your pen I gon' fool ya. Flexible and fit for the
We are now being joined by Senator John Liu. Thank you for taking the time out to speak to us.
Great to be with you, Sabine.
Yay. As you know, New York was one of the hardest hit and impacted by the coronavirus. A number of neighborhoods was a sizable amount of Caribbean population was impacted, like the Wakefield in the Bronx, Brooklyn, Flatbush, and also Queens, Jamaica, Queens. So how do you be able to provide us with some kind of healthcare information that that this won't happen again?
Sabine, that was quite a question you threw at me. Actually, I can't guarantee that
Mhm.
another virus won't hit us. In fact, I can almost guarantee that another virus will at some point hit us. I guess the question that you're really asking me is, what can we do in government and across agencies, nonprofits, and companies alike to make sure that we have a response that will be not only adequate to fight this kind of pandemic and to save lives and keep people healthy, but also to eliminate some of the long-standing disparities where we have seen Caribbean communities and other communities of color face disparate impacts with regard to not only lack of healthcare, but outright deaths and tragedies and the suffering that families have endured. So those are questions that we have held a number of hearings in the Senate and the state legislature to address, whether it be the response of hospitals and nursing homes, to how social service agencies have been able to do their work, to budget hearings and the ability, or in some cases the lack thereof, of state government to provide resources, and of course the ongoing discussions about how we need the federal government to really to step up and to recognize not only the health pandemic, but also the economic collapse that we are trying to stave off. So many different questions surrounding COVID-19 and the need to prepare for the next one.
So the Caribbean culture been used to unify, right, such a diverse city like New York. You know, what was the best, how could you describe that for us?
Well, New York City simply wouldn't be what it is without the Caribbean community. We all know that New York City is diverse. It is what we like to consider the capital of the world. We have people from every single nation, every corner of this earth in New York City. And so the Caribbean community is a very important part of it, but the Caribbean community itself is very diverse as well.
Yeah.
As we all know, when we walk down Eastern Parkway on Labor Day, unfortunately not this year because of the COVID-19, but every year for decades, I and many other people have marched along down Eastern Parkway, and during the parade, you're not Caribbean, you're Jamaican, you're from Trinidad and Tobago, you're from Barbados. I mean, everybody's got their own flag, and that is a more finer level of diversity that we celebrate, especially in the Caribbean Day Parade.
All right, I like that. I like that. You know, saying that you've been to the parade, give me some of your best moments being at the parade.
Well, certainly the costumes are a sight to behold. A sight to behold for many different reasons. I don't wish to expound on it too much during this interview, but they're very colorful for sure. You walk down, not only do you get exercise as you walk down the parade, which is actually one of the longest parades physically in the city of New York, as well as large in terms of size and participation and spectatorship. But, as you're getting your exercise, you just get so hungry because you smell all the food that's being offered all along the route, and it's actually hard to walk the entire parade without stopping for some jerk chicken.
So jerk chicken is your favorite, I take it.
I would say it's one of my favorites, jerk chicken and rice.
Nice. My favorite as well.
All right.
Jerk chicken is definitely my favorite. Well, thank you so much, Senator John Liu, for being with us here today on this special.
Sabine, thanks for having me on. And let me give a quick shout out to Tyrik, our brother and producer.
Yes.
Show yourself, you're beautiful, one of a kind, unusual.
In these troubling times, I am reminded of the words by the great Shiro, Shirley Chisholm. Service is the rent we pay for the privilege of living on this earth. And there's no better time than now to bring those words to life as we grapple with so much hardship and pain. But I remain hopeful in a better tomorrow, in our commitment to see it come to fruition.
Dipping in culture, everything in color, working for $1.